Heyo, welcome back everybody to the Fast Break with Taylor and Jake. As always, my name is Taylor Harper. This is Jake Merritt on my left. We're back with the podcast, and pretty insane week going on. We got some really good playoff series coming on. Jake and I's team have already been exposed for the frauds they are.
Yeah, we were the first ones out. Actually,
We're playing golf. So.
Miami was the first one out. So, yeah, Miami was bad. It was bad. But you know what? I say last year's overachieving going to the finals matches up with this year's underachieving of getting swept, and it balances out. So I'm just
Win-win.
neutral. I'm just neutral.
Yep.
I'm not going to freak out too much, but I'm not happy. Let's just get to next year. How about that?
Yes, let's get to next year. Same with my Celtics. They didn't really put up much of a fight. Tatum was probably the only one who really wanted to win, scoring a 50 and then a 40-point game, averaging 30 for the series. So, I mean, that was easy for the Nets.
So we're right in the middle of all the fun stuff. So we are going to just talk about each playoff series, maybe talk about some individual performances. Real quick, I think we do need to talk about Mark Eaton. Was that?
Yes.
That was this last Saturday, right? Before
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Mark Eaton. Yeah. This was between our last podcast. The 11-year Jazz man, Utah beloved, Mark Eaton, passed away on Saturday. He was found dead on a bicycle. I don't know if it was a bicycle accident that killed him or if he maybe had some heart issue that led to a bicycle accident. It wasn't a hit and run. They do know that. But unfortunately, yeah, Mark Eaton passed away. I believe he was 63 years old. Great basketball player. You know, it's sad when we lose these great basketball players, but also when it's a basketball player that is not just a basketball player, but like a community kind of guy.
Right.
And that's exactly what Mark Eaton was. He played his whole career here. As far as I know, he lived here since he'd retired.
Yep.
He was very out and about, and a lot of people were on social media saying like they met him here or there, taking a picture. Really, really gracious guy. Just a really great guy. Yeah, I know you.
I was actually legit friends with him on Facebook. I mean, if you sent him a friend request, he probably would have accepted it. So, I mean, he's just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Very nice guy, very welcoming guy, and he just, like Jake said, very for the community. It's a very, very sad loss to hear that.
I believe he was 63, so not too old. Not too old.
Heck, I hope I ride my bike when I'm 63.
Yeah, especially when you're 7 feet tall.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive.
Hope,
Heck, and he was just horseback riding the week before.
Yeah.
He was riding horses. I'm like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, crazy life. Like it says, what isn't it? Ricky Bobby, life comes at you fast, or something.
I think so.
Sunset, life comes. Anyways, life comes at you fast,
Yes.
people. You just never know. It's the same thing with like Kobe Bryant. Like you just unexpected things happen. So, just appreciate these guys while they're appreciate everyone in your life while they're still around, because you never know what's gonna happen.
Except for Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so hope the the Eaton family is doing well, and the Jazz. I went to the Jazz did a broadcast for the game. I think it was Game 4 in Memphis. The game was in Memphis. The Jazz at their home stadium played it on the Jumbotron. So I went, and there was probably about 8,000 people. It was actually really fun. It was really cool to kind of get like just a taste of like that playoff atmosphere again, even though it was just on a TV and
how much were those tickets?
They were free.
Were they?
Yeah, it was free. But at that broadcast, they did a moment of silence and remembered Mark Eaton because it was that same day. So super, super sad. But he did a lot with he did a lot with the time he was here, which is what matters. So
right.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Let's just start from the East and work down.
All right.
1 through 1 and 8. We obviously saw Philadelphia knock off Washington in 5. I'm surprised Washington even got that one. I really am.
I wasn't surprised by 5. I actually thought like the way Washington played in those playing games, they could maybe steal another one from them. Maybe.
Well, that
six
game
at the
5
max.
should have been the one because Embiid was out.
Right.
And if you lose to him without
Yeah.
Embiid, it's kind of sad because that team's not very good without Embiid.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, they do have a lot of
okay.
shooters.
have
That's
a
a
lot of
lie. And
shooters.
this might actually be the most talented this team's actually been with the core of Simmons and Embiid, in my opinion.
for sure. So, Philadelphia, they're looking pretty good. Handled their business as they should, and they will play the Hawks in the next round. I think it's a good year for Washington.
Yeah. Well, especially because they started like 3-25.
They started really
They were
bad.
so bad.
Oh man.
Oh man.
And they really turned it around. Russell Westbrook had a great second half of the year for sure.
Yep.
Brad Beal obviously was scoring 32?
I think
31
so.
a game, somewhere around there.
32.
30 plus, which is absurd when you're playing as many games as he played. So Washington, I think, has got. Well, no, I don't see him getting much better than they are right now. Maybe in the future, but who knows? I don't know where Washington goes from here. At least try and bring back Beal and Westbrook because they were pretty good. Maybe get better elsewhere, but that's it for Washington. Philadelphia moves on.
Easy.
Should we jump to? Let's go 2 through 7. Let's talk about Boston and Brooklyn. What do you think?
Hate them. No,
Did that
lost.
series go how you thought it would?
Absolutely. Yeah, I knew Boston wasn't going to stand a chance. Not necessarily surprised they took a game. I'm glad they did because I'm like, oh, please don't get swept. But Tatum played great. Like I said, Tatum was probably the only one who really wanted to win. Smart gives smart effort. So, I mean, Marcus Smart is always 110% on the court.
Doing as much as he can.
Right.
He's not an all-star, but he's not bad. So.
Right. I don't know, just the more I watch Brooklyn, the more I want them to fail. Like, they are such a pit to the league, okay? I mean, it's ridiculous, and I'm really, really hoping that they lose to Milwaukee. And if they... I don't know, it's going to be tough.
Are they the new easy team? Are they the new, easy, I guess...
To catch and put in the finals?
Public enemy?
I'd say
They're
so.
definitely the public enemy.
I'd say so. Because most people don't like Durant. And he's an easy target to
Most
dislike.
players don't like... Well, I'd say most people are split on Harden. I think a lot of people don't really care for the way he plays, but they know how good he is. And he doesn't really... Of Kyrie and KD and Harden, he's the least, socially controversial, I think, because he kind of just keeps to himself. Yeah, we all know what he enjoys
We
doing.
just don't like the way he plays and the way he draws fouls and all that kind of stuff. It's really annoying.
Which is understandable, absolutely. And then Kyrie and KD, they're always... KD just doesn't care what anyone thinks about
terrible.
him. He's always going, I don't know, a little rogue in the public eye. Kyrie's just... I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's a little weird. But what we saw, too. What do you
Smashed
think
Lucky's
about,
face.
what do you think about him walking over and stomping on?
I think it's just a poor, and I get that the fan threw the water bottle, but
that
I
was
think
after.
I was gonna say, that's what I'm saying.
The water bottle was after.
Right. So and I know they've been saying Boston's got racist fans. The way I feel about it is everyone has racist fans. I don't think there's ever going to be an arena that doesn't have racist fans. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of something to think about. I just barely brought it up. What defines racist fans to you? Is it the racial slurs all the fans are saying at the players?
That's racist.
Well, yes, it is. That's what I'm trying to say. I think some of these players target. Okay, we're going to bring up race here again, people, but just hear me out. I think these players target when they call fans the racist fans in the NBA, because Utah has been up there. A lot of players have said Utah's got very racial fans. Boston has got some very racial fans apparently. Those are white populated areas. So if they go to a place where it's mainly black populated people and they're saying the same racial slurs, but they're not calling them racist fans because they're of the same color. So therefore it's not racist. That's why I think they target Utah more, is because it's white fans saying that stuff more than blacks. Because blacks can get away with saying that stuff. Apparently. So like I don't think there's ever one racist arena or fans.
I think there's places where you probably hear it more than others. I think you're going to hear more slurs said in Utah or Boston than Atlanta or.
See, I don't think it will. Because
I
you
think
can
you will.
turn
I
on
think you will.
can turn on any,
Here's
I will
why.
say any rap song and hear a racial slur. I would say a good 10 times.
Right.
But if you hear
I
one
believe
white
that.
person say it once, that stands out way more than the African American saying.
And here's why I think you hear it more in Boston or Utah is because the fans you're around, like white people aren't gonna say that to a black person's face.
Right.
Like they're just not unless they're like racist and just looking for
Right.
fights. But when you're a fan in the stands and you know the player can't come after you, like there's not going to be another
Well, the rip
Ron
apparently.
Artest.
Right.
Which, I mean, if Russell Westbrook went up and punched the fan in the face, he poured popcorn, I wouldn't have cared.
Right. Oh yeah.
If John Morant got to come face to face with the people who were saying racist things to his family, I wouldn't have cared. I would have said, you know what? If you're being racist, you deserve the consequences of being racist. Receive that from the person you're being
Right.
racist against. I think though in Utah where there's more white people in the fans or more white people in the stands, and vast majority of people are gonna be like appalled at what you're saying most
Right.
likely, but I don't know if any of them are actually gonna do anything about it.
Right.
Whereas if you're around fans, if you're around the people of you know what I'm saying here?
I guess so.
If
No. Yeah.
you're saying racist things about black people, someone's more likely to say it in Utah than Atlanta,
Right.
because I don't think they're going to get that confrontation.
Right.
So I think I'm glad, Utah, I think they banned there were 2 or 3 people who said who were caught saying things that you can't say at a basketball game, or probably ever.
Yeah,
should say.
you shouldn't say it ever. I mean, let's
Right.
be real here.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad Utah's like, nope. Nope.
Sorry.
You do that, you're out. You pour popcorn on a fan, you're out. Spit, you're out. Throw a water bottle, you're out. Like, you can't treat these
We
people.
talked about it last week. Just have some respect.
Yeah, they're not circus animals. They're human beings. Whether you like them or not, like, treat them with respect that you would want someone to, treat you with. I wouldn't want someone to throw a water bottle at me, so I'm never gonna throw a water bottle at someone else. Right. It's pretty common sense.
Do I have a water bottle around here? I
No.
was gonna throw it at you.
But anyways,
so back to that whole thing. I just think it's kind of petty for Kyrie to step on Lucky's face, and especially when you yourself committed to Boston,
right,
and turn your back. So I don't know what the city has.
Right.
What does the city ever do to you?
It's worse that he played there, and I don't think Boston did him dirty at all.
Nope. Fans started to bash him when he said, "I don't plan on resigning."
Mm-hmm.
He first came out and said, "If you guys will have me, I plan on resigning."
Right.
And everyone was happy. We wanted Kyrie to play for it. That was our franchise point guard. And then he started to do some stuff and then say some pretty much stuff. I don't know. I don't owe anyone anything, kind of type thing. I don't owe the fans anything.
I do think you owe the Celtics organization to play when you're able to play. Right. That's what they pay you for. Is they're paying you to play the game. So just taking these, and you know what, Brooklyn just knows Kyrie's just going to miss games for personal reasons.
Right.
And they okayed that when they signed him. Boston, I don't think okayed that. I think they, it's pretty obvious. Like, we're paying you to play as much as you can.
Right.
Now, maybe Brooklyn's okay with him not playing as much as he can, but that's, something they've both agreed to. So he left. Obviously, the whole Boston thing was a failure from top to bottom with Kyrie.
Yep.
Stepping on Lucky's face, it's disrespectful. But a lot of disrespectful stuff happens in the playoffs.
There totally is. I just thought it was
don't know.
petty.
It could have been worse. It was just petty. It
Yeah,
just,
it was just,
but,
come on.
like, I mean, Kevin Garnett being like, is no one going to talk about Kyrie stepping on his face? Like, this is...
And then
we're
Glenn
gonna have
Davis,
problems off the basketball
Glenn Davis
court. Glenn
posted
Davis
the
said
same
that.
thing, and then
I'm
Kevin
like-
Durant responded to that with just a bunch of laughing faces.
Yeah, because
And
it's
then a little
like,
quote at the end.
Kevin Garnett is as disrespectful a basketball player as it gets.
Right.
I mean, you I can't remember who said it, but when you're on the basketball court with Kevin Garnett, nobody is safe. Your
No.
family, the dead, the unborn. It doesn't matter.
The
who it is.
unborn.
Nobody is safe from Kevin Garnett getting personal.
Right.
So
I didn't even say the same about Glenn
it
Davis.
doesn't mean a whole lot here coming from Kevin
Right.
Garnett.
Right.
Now, if it was, who's like Tim Duncan,
Right, I was
maybe
gonna say
it was
Jackson.
Tim Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki, like the guys that just never have problems with anyone. They just play basketball.
Yep.
Then yeah, okay, that holds a little more water. But Kevin Garnett, I'm like, no, you gotta get it from like maybe Ray Allen or something, maybe a Celtic who is still highly respected.
Right.
You know, so that was funny.
But
Hey, I won that tiebreaker though.
between the
You
stupid
said any more
yeah,
fan bets?
and there's been like 5. There's been
since
so many.
we made this, the Jazz had 3. Let's just count that as one group.
The fan flopping
And
on
then-
the court. I'm like, oh my
Where's
gosh.
the fan flop? Oh,
Yeah, he ran
that's
onto the
right.
court and got
That's
tackled,
right.
and Bradley Beal just started laughing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
oh my
right.
gosh, can you
Oh.
guys not control yourselves at a basketball game?
So yeah, Taylor won that one, or
Oh,
Jake
no, I
won
didn't.
that one.
That was the same day, people.
The
I
same
mean,
day,
fans,
yes.
come on, give me at least a week to have that tiebreaker. They probably gave me an hour.
Oh, that's funny.
That was so dumb.
Yeah, that was a good one. Oh man, that's hilarious. So, anyways,
yeah.
these fans just continue to be stupid. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more.
I wouldn't either. Now I've seen this. Oh yeah, easily.
Seriously, like you're gone for a year and you forget how to act. It's unreal. Like if you're lucky enough to go to a playoff game like right now, like cherish that, act, be on your best behavior. Like don't do anything your mother wouldn't approve of. Pretty like it's pretty fun stuff. Back to okay. So Brooklyn advances and Boston's out. Some Boston news? Danny Ainge stepping down.
Danny
Brad
Ainge
Stevens
retired.
being promoted. What do you think about this as a Celtics fan?
I'm still not 100% convinced that Brad Stevens really knows what he's doing. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because the very first 5 years they had him, I really liked Brad. It seemed like he knew what he was doing. Just like these past few years, just like Brad, what's going on, buddy? But I'm almost more upset about who our coaching options are. Like they talked about, was it Lloyd Pierce?
I can't even remember.
Jason Kidd. If Boston hires Jason Kidd to be their replacement coach,
I don't think he's ever. I don't know. I don't think he's a great coach.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying.
Brooklyn,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, no. Those are the 2 leading candidates supposedly. I know the names like Mike Krzyzewski is retiring after next season.
Oh, he's like 74.
I
He's
know, like
done.
guys, they're not bringing in Krzyzewski. Come on. Becky Hammond, they've talked about. I'd be like, okay, I'd be cool with Becky Hammond because Becky Hammond is the assistant coach for the San Antonio Spurs, and if there's anyone who is right underneath Greg Popovich for like learning, it's probably her because she knows all of his coaching techniques. So I'd be okay trying out Becky. But as far as like who's out there to coach right now, I'm like, I'm almost for an outsider because I just don't. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan
Maybe like some
of like
college
player
coach or
coaches.
something.
Yeah, I'm okay with an actual coach, like who's studied to be a coach.
Eric Spoelstra,
Eric Spoelstra.
Quinn Snyder. I think he played college. Most of them, at least, all played.
Well, no, but
college.
like Sam Cassell's an option because he's already in the Celtics front office. So like Sam
That's right.
Cassell, Antoine Walker. I'm like, please no. I'm like, guys, I don't know. Maybe they'll be great. I don't know. But
Just unsure.
I'm not going to be throwing a party. The next coach for the Celtics.
Are you happy to get rid of Ainge?
I don't know. I mean, it's a total love-hate
He
relationship.
makes
between me and
moves.
Ainge. He makes moves.
But not always the best.
And like some fan was like, good riddance. He hasn't made anything since 2008. I'm like, well, he did give us Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum
You're right.
because he traded
With the Paul Pierce.
with the whole
KG,
Paul Pierce thing.
like,
So I'm
that really set you guys up.
to say that's nothing. I'm like, okay, you're kind of a scum.
Right.
So I mean, he's made some good choices, but he's also hasn't.
Well,
pulled the trigger on things.
actually, Jason Tatum was from Philly, wasn't he? They traded.
No, it was the New York. It was all Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure.
See, because I thought.
So here's what it was. So yes, it was. So Nets gave him that first round, gave him the first overall draft pick,
right
and then they traded with Philly
down
for
to
that.
the third.
But Danny Ainge said he was going to take Tatum at first with the first overall pick anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to pick Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball. He was going to.
But
take
he
Tatum.
knew those two were going first.
Yes,
so he said,
so
let's
that's
get
why
an
he
additional. Didn't they get an additional draft pick or a player? They traded down for a reason. They had to have gotten something to trade down.
Right.
I would guess probably another draft pick,
Right.
or some player.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Danny Ainge, like, he's had some good moves for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't a GM that's scared to pull the trigger for anyone. No one's safe, which I think encourages players to play their best basketball.
Right.
Some don't like it, and I absolutely understand
Right.
that. Like, they're saying, I get the argument. Like, players say, why do we have to be loyal when the team's not loyal?
Right.
And Danny Ainge is the definition of a team's not loyal.
Right.
Like,
It's more of like a business thing for him.
KG, Paul Pierce, Isaiah Thomas, gone.
Right. So Isaiah Thomas was just barely on the All the Smoke podcast, and they asked him that. They said, "Well, how do you feel about the whole situation?" He says, "Honestly, I know it's a business. The only thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is that they never told me, after I got my injury, that I shouldn't play, because so after he got his injury, as soon as he went to Cleveland, he hurt his hip again. He says, I wish they would have told me to not play."
Yeah.
Because then he got more health problems. That's a really good podcast. You guys should listen to the Isaiah Thomas one. He goes in depth about how he's right now going from 10-day contract to 10-day contract, and he says, I'm honestly fine with that. He says, gives me a chance. He says, I just want to hoop. I don't even care if I'm playing 10 minutes, 25 minutes. I just want to hoop. So it's a good listen.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Atlanta. Nope. Who's number 3?
Let's go Miami, Milwaukee.
Bucks.
I'll take this one. Miami looked real bad. Milwaukee looked real good. That's about it. Anyone's on the trading block now, except for Bam. I still say Bam's untouchable.
I think Bam's their best piece.
I think Bam's their best piece going forward.
Butler's the best player, but Bam is
right.
He needs
He's
to
the
stay.
future for sure. So Butler, is he a free agent?
I don't think so.
I don't think he is. I think he's coming back from there.
How disappointing was Harold?
Very
Because you go from the bubble.
He was great.
He was a fantastic in the bubble. And they're like, okay, great. And that's one of the reasons they said, okay, we're not going to trade this kid. Is because he showed a lot of potential. And they passed up, I think, a bunch of trades because a lot of teams were trying to trade.
Yeah, they said he's off the table.
But
it did not work out this year. I'd still want to give it another year or two before I say, yay or nay.
Right.
I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but I think he could be. I think he'd actually be a really good sixth man going
heck,
forward.
I even said he could be the next Klay Thompson. I totally take that back. I honestly, personally, I think Duncan Robinson's better than Harold. I really like Duncan Robinson.
I like both of them. I think he's a free agent this year.
Is he?
I think he is, and I really hope they keep Duncan because he is.
He's a great player
automatic.
who won't cost much.
I think he'll get a decent amount.
Well, right, but he definitely ain't no max player.
True. He's not fantastic. He's improved a lot on his defense, but I still wouldn't even call him a 3-and-D guy. He's way more 3 than he is D.
Right.
I want to keep this core group together because I did see some really good things from them last year. This year, I don't know. Maybe it was fatigue from the bubble going that far.
Right.
Maybe I don't know what it was. Maybe they just didn't do well with playing without. I don't know what it was, but they just weren't. It was like Boston. They just weren't as good this year as I thought they should have been. So Hero was he was a disappointment in the playoffs, but I'm not gonna say I want him out.
Right.
I think it's too early for that.
It was only his second year. Most people in their second year, that's their worst year is their second year.
Yeah, the sophomore slump. Because teams know what you can do. Everyone saw Tyler Hero in the bubble score 38 on the Lakers. He's actually hit a lot of clutch shots in his short career. He's improved as a playmaker for his team. So I think teams are going to focus on him, and now he has to adjust. He came in, did his thing, teams adjusted, now it's him to adjust. That's where you find out who's going to be the really great players. Donovan Mitchell, huge jump in his third year. Jason Tatum, huge jump in their third year. Right. And that doesn't always happen. So,
but they got to keep Sheen Estevez.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think that even is?
No. So, Heat were bad, Milwaukee was great, and That's about all I can say for that. I say Milwaukee has a good shot at beating Brooklyn. I really
hope. I really
Taylor, if it's
hope
going to happen,
so.
If Brooklyn's going to be beaten,
in the East it's by Milwaukee. I would say here's the thing, by anyone. By anyone, it's probably Milwaukee. By anyone, it's going to have to be Milwaukee.
They match up the best against them.
And because like we mentioned, Giannis has won MVPs. Did he ever win Defensive Player?
Yes.
He won Defensive Player. I'm sure he won Most Improved. I'm not 100% positive about that.
He did.
So he's won everything that he needs to win except for a championship. And why not slaughter the powerhouse, the three-headed dragon? Oh my gosh, I am right now a full-on, just for this round, Milwaukee Bucks bandwagon.
Absolutely.
Full on.
I'm wearing I have a pair of Giannis shoes. I'm wearing them every day. I'm screaming at the TV because I just
do not like that.
I'd be so frustrated watching this team who was nothing and just in less than a year just bought their way to a super team. And it's just not pure basketball, right? So I don't want to see that.
And I know they can do it. I wasn't on fully with you. Like I know you were on board with Milwaukee beating them, but watching Boston defend them, Boston's not they're a good defensive team. They're a great defensive team, but they're not the best in the league. Watching Boston hold them to like going into the fourth quarter, like halfway through, it's like 92 points Brooklyn has. I'm like, oh my gosh, Brooklyn's being held like 90 points right now. So if Boston can do it, man, I sure as heck. If
Milwaukee.
I swear, Jake, if they win, I'm carrying you on my shoulders and hoisting you like a king.
Please.
No, please. I will gladly. I hope. I'm serious. A party. We're gonna throw a party if they lose. There's no question.
It's
because if they lose,
I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll go 6 or 7 for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't see it going less than 6. No way.
Milwaukee.
Maybe.
It can't go less unless it's Bucks winning in 5.
Right, because you've got. I just like the defensive matchups. I like Drew Holiday on. I think you'd stick him on James Harden because he's about as good of a wing defender as there is in the league. I think.
I would say
he's got good size. He's great defensively, and you can't stop Harden, but continue.
Might as well put a defender on him.
Right, you got to put someone on him, or else he's torching you.
Yep.
I do like Giannis on KD. Again, that's as good of a matchup as you're going to get on KD with the length and the size, the athleticism.
Which leaves Kyrie to be alone, and I'm okay with that because we saw him in Cleveland alone. And he didn't do jack crap.
Who do you think guards Kyrie?
Let him go. Let him go. Let him fail. I want Kyrie to fail this team.
Me too.
Fail the Brooklyn Nets.
So
let the whole town down.
I really hope Milwaukee can do it. That'd be awesome to see a little Milwaukee beat Brooklyn.
It'd be wonderful.
Because Milwaukee is also another team that slowly over time just built. I remember, I think in 2014 when they were I think they were the worst team in the league. I remember there was ESPN was running through the games that night, and they showed the Milwaukee Stadium. And I literally think there was single-digit number of fans in the Upper Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even kidding. They
were nobody terrible
going to Milwaukee. That's right. They got the second overall pick that year because they gave and they drafted Jabari. So they were atrociously bad. And people were like, it wasn't that long ago. But they've slowly over time, they drafted Giannis. I think they drafted Chris Middleton, right?
Uh-huh.
I think they drafted Chris Middleton. They brought in Brook Lopez from free agency, who's really turned around his game and I think improved since his time with the Lakers. And then they made that trade for Drew Holiday. So they've really slowly built a team that is pretty good. So
if they win, I will go buy a Giannis jersey.
I will.
Let's do it. If Milwaukee can do this, I'm serious. Like, I'm so fed up with Brooklyn and their antics.
DH, get a Giannis jersey. All right. New York and Atlanta.
Killed them!
Wow.
New York, the frauds of the year. Holy cow.
Not frauds.
Absolute disappointment. Me and you were both said New York's going to win a playoff series. And they blew up. Julius Randle didn't even come to the games.
All right. However, Taylor, now. I really have to take my hat off to Trae Young.
Yep.
I don't like him.
I love him.
But it is the same thing with Curry. Like, you definitely gained some respect from me this series. He's not good defensively,
No.
so they just hide him on defense. But he reminded me when I watched him play, because I've not actually really watched Trae Young play all that much. You just hear about the antics and see that, but
And his balding head.
yeah, he's a funny looking guy. But to see a 6'1", 160-pound twig just pick apart a defense the way he did, he honestly reminds me of Chris Paul, point guard wise, with a touch of, a dash of Steph Curry's shooting ability.
Right.
I mean, he can shoot the ball pretty dang well, but his pick and roll offense is absurdly good. His finishing around the rim for his size, absurdly good. He's tremendous passer. He's a really good passer. He's honestly, to me, the next Chris Paul.
Yes.
For real. And it pains me to say it, but
and I don't know.
I just got to be honest. I mean, he totally blew me away.
So we were talking about how Kyrie was kind of disrespectful to the Celtics logo. Because New York gave him a lot of crap. New York fans gave him a lot of crap.
Trae's balding.
So, guys, if you don't know what Trae... there's only a few people watching our podcast who probably don't know who Trae Young is. So if you don't know what Trae Young's hair looks like, it looks like a head, like a regular head. And if I was to just glue cotton balls, space them out every... Yes. Yeah. Yes. It's a good way to put it. If I was just glue cotton balls every inch, just kind of... And then kind of fluff it just a little. Exactly. Just kind of fluff it out.
That's what it looks like.
And when he runs, his hair just kind of fluffs. It's very, very light and fluffy. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so to me, him taking that bow was perfect. It's kind of like Damian when he waved to the Oklahoma City fans. That, to me, is the best ending to a...
Quiet down, fans. Quiet down.
Who did that?
Trae did.
Oh, yes. That was in game 1, I think, wasn't it?
I think he did it in game 4, too.
Oh, and then he took the bow, too.
He was eating it up. And if you're going to do it, the Garden's the place to do it in front of those fans.
In front of Spike Lee and everyone.
Mm-hmm. All right, now I know. We said Knicks in 6, and that didn't happen. But
no,
Taylor, if I would have said a year ago that Knicks fans would be disappointed in themselves and how they played in the playoffs, you wouldn't have believed me.
Okay.
Right? Because no one thought the Knicks were going to make the playoffs. Get a 4th seed, get home court advantage in the playoffs, win a playoff game. That's a jump. They made a jump for sure. I mean, Miami took a step back. Boston had a step back for this year.
New York embraced it.
New York and Atlanta. Now, also, I have to give that same respect to Atlanta for sure.
Because they
made a lot of off-season moves. They were really active this offseason. I know they got in Rondo, who has since been traded. But Bogdanovich, Clint Capella was involved, I believe, in a trade to get him over there. So they made a lot of moves and really did well. And Nate McMillan was brought in throughout sometime during the season, right? I think they had a pretty bad start, and their previous coach was fired, and then they hired Nate McMillan, who did a great job in his time.
I'm pretty sure that was actually Lloyd Pierce.
I think you're right.
Who's the guy who might be the Boston head coach?
Right. Don't hire him. I think it was Lloyd Pierce got fired fairly early on in the season.
Yeah.
And then Nate McMillan did a tremendous job the rest of the year, and they're moving on to the second round of the playoffs.
I've always liked Nate McMillan. He never really got the respect. When he was the coach of the Indiana Pacers, he was a great coach for Indiana, and they never really had a terrible season while he was there. They always hung around in the playoffs. They always kind of did the dirty business. And so I've always liked Nate. I've always liked him.
He coached Seattle from 2000 to 2005. So he's got a
great record, probably. No, I shouldn't say great, but
he did coach Portland as well.
That's right, he did.
So he's been to a few teams, but I feel like everywhere he's been pretty successful.
Right.
So Nate McMillan is say Miami or the Jazz, my team needed a coach. Say Quinn Snyder moved somewhere else or Spoelstra went somewhere else, which I don't think is going to happen.
No.
But say it did, and Nate McMillan's available on the market. I'd say get Nate McMillan for sure. I think he has very well coached. I think he has really well coached teams. Good defensively. Seems to overachieve. I think for the most part, like he's doing with the Hawks right now. So great job, Atlanta. So that's the East. Real quick, you want to make some predictions for the second round of the East?
Philadelphia does beat Atlanta
In
6 because I don't know what Embiid's going to come back.
Okay.
And Atlanta's been playing great, so I'm going to give them 6. I'm going to give Atlanta 2 wins, and then I have Nets winning. I'm just praying that I'm wrong. If there's ever been a time that I wanted to be wrong, it is that selection right there.
Gotcha. All right, and I'm also going to go Philly in. I'll go Philly in 6. I think Atlanta can push him to 6. But I could be wrong there because I thought Washington would. So, but I'm going to say Philly in 6. And then I am going to go Milwaukee in 7.
Please.
I'm going to go Milwaukee. No, I'm going to go Milwaukee in 6.
That'd be wonderful. If it didn't take 7 games, that'd be wonderful.
But I got to stick with my prediction that I made last week. So I got to go Milwaukee. It's just a matter of games.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's the home team in that series.
It's going to go 7.
I think it'll go 7.
I think it will.
I think it'll go 7. I'll go Milwaukee in 7. So, all right, West. Let's start with the most boring series, which was the Jazz and Memphis.
Yeah, I mean,
Which actually was better than I thought it was. I mean,
it wasn't.
I feel like it was closer than 5, but Utah's a better team.
The only reason it felt closer was because Donovan didn't play game 1, so therefore Memphis won by only 3. They did get the win, and then game 4, I believe Utah was up by double digits, and then they cut it. They just cut it down.
They did,
but they didn't.
Okay.
They didn't make. They didn't. To me, they didn't make like a comeback. They just kind of cut it down.
Yeah,
But I thought Utah was going to sweep, and they basically did. And I know they would have if Donovan would have played that game 1.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, easy win. Bright future in Memphis. Ja,
For sure.
a heck of a freak athlete. Ja
who would you rather have going forward, Trae Young or Ja Morant?
Going forward, Ja, because he's
Really?
I don't know, because Ja Morant can at least defend.
He can.
He's not like an insane defender.
He's
to
also
me,
a tremendous passer as well.
Right.
I watched his passing abilities and he can score practically at will. He got his points every game against Utah.
I mean, to me, Trae, and you shouldn't say that's about anyone, but I don't think you can teach Trae Young defense. I think there are some players who just can't be defenders.
Trae Young is
to me, Ja Morant, absolutely.
He couldn't be a great defender.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could be first, second team.
With
his length and his athleticism.
So I would probably
his tenacity.
take Ja.
Okay, fair. I would as well. Ja Morant impressed the heck out of me. Dylan Brooks got the most punchable face in history. And he is just a knucklehead, man.
Why?
He headbutted Mike Conley.
Oh, come on.
Conley. He's getting out. He's elbowing Donovan. He had antics the whole
One thing that I did not like.
And Donovan made him his boy. He sunned him.
Is
Donovan
how
sunned
much
him.
disrespect Memphis fans gave Mike Conley.
I know.
Mike Conley was with you for how many years? 15?
I'm not quite that many. I think it was like 11.
Oh, that's right. 11 sounds better.
Because he... let's see.
Yeah, that sounds like 11.
2007 to like 2020, so yeah, about 12, 13 years, something like that.
But regardless, he spent over a decade with one franchise, had some dang good runs with that franchise.
And he was like the I don't know what the award's called. Like the community man of the year,
NBA Community Award. Yeah, he won that multiple times. Not just once, multiple times.
He's as good of a guy as you get in the NBA, for real. I mean, you don't hear any trouble about Mike Conley. He looks like the nicest guy. He's got a great smile. Yeah. He's just
those pearly whites.
He's just a team player. Like, he is as good as it gets in the NBA.
So for them to they bashed him pretty good. And I'm like, why?
And you know what he said in the press conference? Dark Knight. He said,
"Yep.
How does it
You live
go?
long enough. You
either die
a hero, or you live long
enough
enough to
be
see
the
yourself
villain."
become the villain." And I'm like, that's exactly what it is, and it's sad.
That's like the most fitting quote.
I mean, it's terrible.
But he
'cause
shouldn't. He shouldn't be. Like, no one should be demonizing.
He gave
Mark
Memphis
Conley.
everything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they had some great teams.
Mhm.
Heck, they beat the number 1 seeded San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
They were good. They were a good team.
So I was a little depressed or
yeah, for
disappointed with that.
Yeah. So Memphis fans, come on. If we know that's a broad brush. Not all of them. I'm sure there's a good amount that are like, Mike Conley, we left on good terms. It was just time for him to go. We brought in John Morant. Right. Just turning the page. It's just what happens.
He knew they were going to draft Ja.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, okay, I could be here and have him be my backup and have him never have a future.
Or I can be backup.
And here's the thing. He's 33 years old. He's getting older.
Mm-hmm. He's got a couple of good years, I think.
Which, that's why I was a little kind of miffed that he made the All-Star team this year, just because, to me, he had far better years in Memphis, to be honest.
Awesome. Yeah.
But, so who knows how much longer he's got, but he knows he's getting old. He can't do as much, so...
We gotta respect someone like Mike Conley. Like, you don't have to like Kyrie or James Harden, Trae Young. It all makes sense, but I don't see why anyone would dislike Mike Conley. But anyways,
were you mad when Wade left?
Miami? I was disappointed.
Were you?
Yeah, it's just too bad. And I was on my mission at the time, but I think it was contractual disagreements. Is kind of what led to that. He felt like he deserved more. Miami didn't want to pay him. So, when you can't make a deal, you can't make a deal. You got to get Donald Trump in there to make a deal.
Right.
He makes deals.
Makes deals.
So, I'm glad he did come back, though, and it all worked out. But, these things happen. Like, players get older and teams move on, and that's just what happens. So,
yep.
I don't think it's personal, but I gotta say, Donovan Mitchell, he really did, and it's Dillon Brooks. I mean, he's not an all-star,
right?
But he was acting like he was good.
You know,
the bee's knees, and Donovan came back and he said, "Nah, I'm the best player in the series. You're not even the best player on your team, so take a seat."
Yep,
take a seat.
All right, 2-7 was the Suns and the Lakers, and just like I said last season, without LeBron or AD, they are garbage. And I stand by that. They are an absolute trash of a team without LeBron or AD. I don't know how they won it last year. Don't know how. This team is garbage. LeBron, you're getting old, buddy, and you're gonna have to admit.
I think he's to the point where
what a poor sport. I'm sorry.
If I was him, I'd be walking off with 5
What
minutes.
a poor sport, man. He's done it before to Orlando, and he's doing it. I'm like, you are the biggest baby I've ever seen.
Like, I've lost some respect for LeBron this year. The player LeBron, I really have. Like, well, I don't know, not the player, because he's 38. He's in. Is he 38? 36.
36.
I think he's 36. Do you think he's 36?
Go home and cry. I mean, you can.
He's not. He's to the point where he can't single-handedly, drag a pile of garbage to the finals
he's
like he did with
someone
Cleveland.
else pick up the other end of the garbage.
And that's okay.
Well,
that's
it
okay.
is.
It's not like people be like, LeBron's not what he was. It's like, well, you know
no
what?
kidding.
He's not what he was, but that's
well.
okay.
Here's the thing too.
Year 18. Thousands of miles on those legs. It's okay.
Here's why I'm so miffed about him leaving the game early. You're the veteran of the team, buddy. Okay? And if you are walking out with 5 minutes left in the game, you're showing your teammates who look up to you that you don't take this seriously. Why do you think Vince Carter stayed in the league for 20 plus years, even though he knew he sucked? It's because he was a veteran. He wanted to mentor the youth. He wanted to make sure the NBA was in good hands. And he just felt like I needed to teach these youngsters.
Well, I think that's the main thing of what Vince Carter had to offer at that point.
Right.
Where LeBron is still a tremendous player.
You gotta stay.
I agree. I think they're your teammates. You ride or die in the highs and the lows. And
that tell you he doesn't care about the city. Okay, see, LA fans can't even. LA fans, no.
Okay, nobody cares about the city LA. It's everyone there is trying to get famous and do their own thing. Nobody cares about the communal good of LA. Nobody cares about LA.
Oh, there is no good in LA.
No. So I agree with you. LeBron, stick with your teammates through good and through bad, not just through good, because we know you do that, and that everyone does that. That it doesn't take anything to stick with your teammates in the good times, but in the bad times, you put your arms around your teammates and you say, "This is bull. You guys need to be better, and I'll give you my best effort. You give me your best effort. That's all we can do." So, but maybe he was trying to say by walk off, "You guys don't even deserve to sit with me."
See, I think that's even lower. I think
I don't know. It was bad. The whole thing, top to bottom.
I should have went with my first pick. I should have had Phoenix. Because I know I picked Phoenix
first.
talked you out of it. And I did. I'm like, screw it. Phoenix is winning the series, guys. I'm sorry, but Phoenix is winning the series. Whether AD plays or not. I think Phoenix wins.
I'd be very surprised if the Lakers can pull it out.
Come on, Phoenix.
They're down 3-2, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not 3-1, 3-2.
Oh, right.
Comebacks, they do happen.
They can tie it tonight.
We'll just have to see.
It's tonight. They end tonight. And is Anthony Davis playing?
It's going to be a game time decision.
Of course it will.
But he's not going to play.
And then Phoenix wins.
You don't come back from a groin injury in less than a week. It doesn't happen.
Especially if you're a guy. It just doesn't happen.
It's
That's one of the reasons they didn't make the playoffs.
Injury risk. Right. He's going to be playing through pain. He's not going to be playing well.
Isn't that the reason LeBron James sat out his first year with LA because of his groin injury?
Yeah. So they weren't going to make the playoffs. There was no point in him coming back to try and re-aggravate. At that point, 34. He would have been 34. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No point in coming back. Groin injuries. Now, I'm sure LeBron's at that time was more serious than Anthony Davis is. But there's some injuries that you come back quickly and some that you don't. And
there are some injuries guys in particular need to make sure don't go wrong. And that is your groin area. So, but Aiden's a beast. Devin's a beast. Yeah. I mean, they're ripping them apart, and that was lovely. Just lovely to see Phoenix.
I'm almost kind of sad to see it because I made the prediction of the Lakers.
I know, I did too.
But here's the thing. I think and we'll talk about it in a second, but say Phoenix and Mavericks close it out, then one of the teams that's going to be representing the West in the finals, it's going to be either Phoenix, Utah, Portland, Denver, or the Mavericks.
Yep.
How crazy would that be if Utah?
I love it.
I
love it.
Awesome.
Because we've talked about it before. 4 years ago, you knew it was going to be Cleveland and Golden State. Cleveland and Golden State. It was no one else. Boston had a chance in 2018, but let's be real here. I knew they weren't going to beat Cleveland in Game 7. It was always Cleveland and Golden State. We've got
and then you think
Phoenix and Utah in the Western Conference Finals.
Well, once Kawhi and PG went to the Lakers, and then AD Clippers, and then AD went to the Lakers, everyone was like, that's all it's going to be. Next couple years, Western Conference Finals. It's going to be 1 seed Lakers, 2 seed Clippers, or 2 seed Clippers, 1 seed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Western Conference Finals. It's going to be the Battle of LA.
Guys, it hasn't happened yet.
Last year didn't happen. This year, not going to happen.
I mean,
I love it. It's
wonderful.
For it.
Even in the East. Well,
so I think it's absolutely hilarious. Like if they again don't play in the playoffs, I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. Now the NBA, they're not going to like it. They want the LA teams in the Western Conference Finals. LA fans,
it's money.
It's
more money. You go suck on a rock.
So I surely hope that I really do. I've generally rooted for LeBron throughout his career when they were playing the Warriors, as you know, when he was on Miami.
He was one of the knuckleheads who did that.
Yeah, but I would be happy to see Phoenix eliminate the Lakers tonight because that means the Jazz, I think, have.
Here's the thing, and Skylar, I'm probably gonna get. Here's my plan. I want to get at least Dayton on in the next week or the week after that because Utah, it's coming down to Utah, and Dayton's the biggest Utah fan I know, so I want to actually have him on the show, maybe even while they're during the finals. That'd be so super awesome. So Dayton, if you're watching, I'll reach out to you. And even Skylar said He says if LA loses, Utah is going to the NBA Finals this year. There is no other team that can stop them. And I don't even think the Lakers could have. Like, I'm looking back, and if Lakers would have been the 8th seed, I think Utah still would beat them.
I think they'd beat the Clippers too.
I do too. That's what I'm saying.
They
Lakers
really
are the only team who could have stopped Utah. And to me, they still couldn't have in the West. I mean, Brooklyn's a different story. But I think Utah is going to the NBA Finals for the 3rd time in franchise history this year. Unless some crazy injury happens, hopefully it doesn't, and they're playing so good. And if Utah can beat Brooklyn in the NBA Finals,
they can beat anyone because they're shooting threes like the 2016 Warriors.
Okay.
That's a big if, though. That's a huge if. If Utah can shoot like that.
I mean, it is.
If they can shoot as well as they did in the month of January, NBA champions. I don't care if they're playing Brooklyn. I don't care who they're playing. If they shoot like they played in January.
If Utah can beat Brooklyn in the NBA Finals, Jake, I don't even know. I would laugh.
Would be turned on its head.
I would. But again,
big, humongous if.
I don't think. Stop it. I don't think the league will let. I don't want to keep saying that. No, I'm not. I'm done saying that.
I think the league can.
I'm done rigging stuff like that.
The league can influence with calls, but I don't think the league decides ultimately who wins. I think the players.
Yeah, and if they can.
If the Jazz win the finals this year, it'd be so cool. Not only just as a Utah fan, but just as a fan of the NBA. It's just so cool to see like the underdog story, the small market team that's built for years who had they were the same as Milwaukee 5-6 years ago. Terrible. They weren't good at all, but they slowly recovered really well.
Guys, they're built like the dynasty of the San Antonio Spurs. Like that's to me, that's the kind of route and potential future that they actually have.
I agree.
If they want to legitimately keep this core, I think they can. I think the players want to stay.
Winning solves a lot of problems.
Okay, Jake. Skylar even said this too. If Utah makes the NBA Finals, he said there is no way I'm not going to be at a home game. Are you going to go to a home game, Jake? Can you pass that opportunity up?
I don't know if you can.
I mean, I want to try. If they can make the finals, I totally want to try.
The problem is going to be everyone else is going to be filming that too.
Maybe that's when they fully open
I'll donate so much plasma to afford us to the finals.
Wait, when is the finals taking place?
I don't know.
Jake, what if that's in the middle of your honeymoon?
Shelly and I are going to be watching a lot of basketball games. Let's see. There's a July 8th through July 20th.
Oh no! It's right in the middle!
Guys, I'm getting married July 15th. We're going to have to make a few calls, reschedule a few things.
Take Shelly right now and be like, yo, wedding's off for at least a month.
No, my fiance, she's really gotten into the Jazz lately. She watches every game. She went to the broadcast, and she's into it. So if the Jazz are in the finals, we are watching.
Their honeymoon's not going to be normal.
But Thursday, July 8th, they start July 8th. They'll be married July 15th. So we'll get a week of uninterrupted finals. Uninterrupted. I'm talking about how my wedding's interrupting the finals. Oh man,
I gotta see 1 sec.
Well, I don't know if they'll have dates posted.
Oh, they won't. That's fair. They don't. They just have. Oh wait. Okay, whatever.
This would be. Oh, here
we go.
Dates.
July 14th would be one of the games, so. Right before your wedding night, you can prepare for that, watching the Jazz. Because the Jazz are making it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The Jazz are making it. I didn't realize it was going to be in the middle of your honeymoon, which is kind of funny. But
I'd pay a large chunk of money to go to a finals game.
I would too.
I would.
And I hopefully we can.
Break. We've talked about like the fast break goes finals, or the fast break goes to an NBA game. If the first game the fast break went to was the NBA Finals, we've peaked.
We've peaked, and if we don't go viral from then, I give up.
We'll vlog the whole thing.
We will have no higher ceiling than that.
So.
And this episode's already almost
Utah.
an hour, so it's gonna be a long episode, folks. So bear with us.
Utah, please make it to the finals.
They will.
And Denver, Portland. I don't want to talk about it too much, but let's just talk about
Denver.
Damian Lillard.
Whew.
Has been sensational. 55 and 10, and
12 made
clutch
threes.
after clutch 3 to keep his team in the game. And I'm convinced everyone besides Damian had a Denver jersey on underneath their Portland jersey, because that seemed like they were playing for. I mean, CJ McCollum couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Carmelo Anthony couldn't shoot it through a hula hoop. They were not good. Damian Lillard was just like, ugh. And he still took part of the blame after they lost. If that was me, I'd get up to the podium. I'd be like, I just want to say this is all their fault. Without me, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that we're even in this game at all. I expect your game checks. Send them to me. Give them to me after the game, and because there's no way you guys should be getting paid to play this game. I'm done. You guys are trash. Y'all are trash.
He took 23 or 24?
23 shots.
23 shot
24.
attempts. Made 17 of them, right?
He was 12 of 17 from 3.
Oh,
I'll
17.
get his stats.
I'm going to say 17 or 24.
That sounds about right. He was, 17 of 24 from the field.
Guys.
12 of 17 from 3.
Guys.
9 of 10 from the free throw line.
Oof.
So, he didn't even shoot a ton of free throws.
Oof.
10 is not that many for a 50-piece. And he had 10 assists, and he should have had 14. If his teammates could hit shots, he'd have 14 assists. 55 and 14.
Oof. We've
Sensational.
absolutely sensational.
All right. If I did want to ask you this real quick. If you're the Portland GM, what would you do?
You got 15 players on a roster, correct?
Trade 14.
I would trade 14 of them. Say, Damian, you can play 1 through 5. We're playing with one person here tonight, and it'll just be Damian Lillard.
I'd honestly, I'd give Damian a call, and I'd be like, hey, we're having a one-on-one meeting. What do you want this team to do? Do you want to restructure your contract? We'll restructure your contract, get you the Supermax deal, whatever. Whatever you want, because that's what you deserve. Who do you want to play with?
Right.
And
We'll get it done.
No one's off the table.
Yep. I mean, I love McCollum next as much as the next guy.
He can't be the second best player on the championship team.
And he can't, he won't, he wouldn't be. And
He can be the third best,
Right.
I think.
Love McCollum. I've always been a fan of his game, but he doesn't shine when he needs to, ever. And I'm like, come on, man. But Damian has always, for his whole career, shown up to every single game, hit the shot against Houston, hit the shot against Oklahoma City.
Didn't he hit 2 shots against Houston?
Wouldn't even doubt it.
I don't know.
Wouldn't even doubt it. And not even just game-winning shots. But he hits, he just makes winning plays, and he gives it his all. Here's something to compare to. Here it is, right here. I will never, ever see Damian Lillard walk out of a game with 5 minutes to go. You will never see Damian do that. Whereas LeBron
He's not that guy.
is a bum.
Is Damian Lillard the most clutch player
By
Is he in the conversation forever?
conversation, I think towards the end of the career, absolutely.
Currently? Most clutch?
By far. I mean, Durant's great, but
LeBron's actually pretty good.
all right. But man,
I'd say he's head and shoulders.
Damian makes some big shots, man.
I'd say he's head and shoulders above everyone for sure.
He is so good.
So, this one,
All time?
it's
He'll be there. He'll get there. He just might get there.
all right, in Denver, Portland. Just real quick, how do you think this series ends? Do you think Denver closes out?
I do. Whether it's tonight, I don't know, but I do think Denver wins the series. And I know I picked Portland because of the 55-point guy, Damian Lillard. That's the only reason I'm picking Portland, is because I want him to succeed.
I picked Portland as well.
I want him to succeed probably more than any player in this league. Well,
He deserves it.
I want Tatum to win because I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. But as far as like that, I want Damian to win more than anyone else playing right now.
For sure. All right, fair enough.
He's nuts.
And that leads us to the last series. And
Clippers are taking it. Clippers are coming back.
My personal favorite through the first round, Dallas and the Clippers. You think the
Clippers are coming back, baby?
Because they're the least clutch team ever.
That's probably a fact.
They were up 3-1 on Denver. They had like 16 point, 17 point, 20 point leads in the third quarter in each of the possible closeout games. Lost all of them.
Here's the thing.
There's not a snowball's chance that they win the next two games against.
Why not? They won 2 again.
I know, but because here's why. There's going to be another game played in Dallas.
Oh, that means nothing.
No. There's going to be another game played in Los Angeles, and the away team is winning every game. Through 5 games, and this has only happened, I think, one other time in NBA history. Through 5 games, the away team has won every game.
That's not happening. Clippers are coming back, bro. Clippers are coming back because in those 2 games that Clippers did win, Doncic was not there. Well, he was, but they did what I said they needed to do.
He was labor. He was injured, though. He couldn't shoot straight.
Okay, and that's because of injury?
Yeah.
No.
Well, did you see yesterday? He had way less tape on, and he balled out.
That's what I'm saying. There's no injury. There's no injury.
No, he's injured.
Y'all are flukes. Kobe Bryant played his entire career playing with like a broken finger. He kept breaking that sucker so many times.
You're just jealous because he picked the Clippers to win.
They're gonna win.
They're not gonna win.
They're gonna win.
No, they're not.
Clippers are winning the series, man.
Dude, Luka's too good.
No, and that's it.
Luka's
that's
too
all
good
it is.
to get 1 win.
He has 3.
I know. He only needs 1 more.
No.
He's too good in game 6 and 7 to not get 1.
I'm going to go with the 2-time Finals MVP to hopefully have my back.
All right.
And Pandemic P, you can...
All right, we'll see about it in a week. We will see about it in a week.
The next podcast, I'll be like, Clippers, huh?
All right. We're almost done here. But it's been a tremendous series so far.
Absolutely.
Who's your top 5 performers in the playoffs?
Trae Young, no, not number 1. Okay, number 1, to be honest, I'll give you it. I will give you it. Doncic has been the best performer.
Okay.
Number 2. I'll go James Harden.
Okay. He's been really good.
I will go Tatum at number 3. I'll go Trae Young number 4. Number 5, I will go Devin Booker.
Interesting. Number 5.
Well, I'm trying to think here. Because definitely at LeBron. Definitely no scrub Julius Erving. Or Julius Randle. No, you know who I'll go? Because he is the only reason Knicks won a game. Now, I'm not going with Derrick Rose number 5. However, Derrick Rose has been great. I'll go Durant.
Okay, he's been really good. I gotta go.
I just wanted to give.
No, I'll start with my number 5. I'll go Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
He's been really good. Yeah, I'll go Donovan Mitchell. I've been really impressed with Donovan. Number 4, I almost want to say Ja Morant because he was super good, but his team lost in 5, so I don't think I can go Ja. I'd probably go Trae Young number 4. James Harden at number 3.
Oh, come on. Tatum's got to be in there. He's averaging like 30.8, bro.
Well, I got to go Damian at number 2 because he's averaging 35.
Whoa. I forgot Damian, and we just barely, and okay, Damian number 1.
Okay. I'm still going to go Damian 2 because his team is down 3-2.
I don't care.
And then I'm going to go Luka number 1.
Wow, we just got done talking about that. Literally, not even a second later.
I'm like, that's why I said interesting number 5, or interesting 5, huh? But no, James Harden's been good. All these guys have been tremendous.
No, okay, yeah.
There's been a lot of great performances these playoffs. I mean, we've seen the stars come out, which is really fun. really fun to watch these stars
Right.
show. Kevin Durant, he's averaging like 32. Russell Westbrook, I don't know if I think he averaged a triple-double, which is,
I don't think he did.
No?
He was struggling. He didn't do very well in the playoffs.
He didn't do great. I think they played a better team, though.
Yeah.
They're just a better team. Jokic has been really good.
Jokic has been good. He'll always be good.
There's so many good players. Even Rudy Gobert, his stats haven't been eye-boggling, but dude, his effect on the court is unreal. Like if he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year, I'm guaranteed it's rigged because he's so impactful on defense, and he's really improved his finishing around the rim.
He has.
Like
I'll give him that.
the thing, and not even like skill-wise, but before he used to try and like finger roll, he just try and lay up. And now he's trying to break the rim off.
Well, that's how it's
every time.
supposed to be when you're a
It
big
is,
guy.
and
And he's finally realizing that. Like,
he's
welcome to
realized
the
that.
club, big boy.
And I'm like, Rudy,
Oh.
thank you. Thank you for trying to break the rim off. Because
That's how it's supposed to be done.
I know. But Rudy Gobert's been really good as well. There's been a lot of tremendous performances.
I will never put Rudy Gobert as the top center until he develops
Right.
a post game.
Not the
mean-
top center.
Because he's got so defensive. Joel Embiid's a great defensive center. You've got some really good defensive centers, which randomly I can't really think of right now. But I wouldn't even take
Miles Turner's probably the second best.
right. But I wouldn't even put him in the same ballpark defensively as Gobert. So like defensively, Rudy Gobert is on another level.
Right.
If he can just develop a legit offensive game, and by that I mean if you're going to pay a player max, at least he's not a super max, is he? No, he better not be a super
I
max.
think he is. He got a 205.
Oh, that's right.
Because remember,
if you're going to pay a guy
Defensive Player of the Year.
205, you're going to have to average at least 22. You have to.
You gotta get your points.
I mean that's like taking Draymond Green and like I don't know.
Yeah.
it's just-
Again, Rudy Gobert, his impact is not the points that he scores.
I can't say much because I can guarantee you if I was to play against Rudy Gobert, I would go viral because of how far he sent my shot into the crowd.
Right.
I mean,
and he is good in the pick and roll. And one thing,
right.
like the reason I'm not going to say, oh, we need Rudy to develop a post game or a hook shot, is because when he was a rookie, I mean, you'd have to hand the ball off for him to catch it. I mean, his hand coordination has improved 10 times since he was a rookie.
Tenfold.
Yes, so he's improved as much as I need him to. Now, for the Supermax, you got to be the best defensive player of the league. And he is.
Like I would love to see Rudy Gobert when Donovan is out step up offensively, and I've never seen him
drop
step up.
30.
Right,
it's not.
I've never seen him
it's not
step up offensively when he needs to. Like, I mean, he'll have 20-point games, he'll have 25-point games, no doubt about it. But I want him to be the number 2 option. Like, you got a guy who is taller than everyone else. Can you imagine if Shaq didn't have an offensive game? It'd be humiliating.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I don't think we would talk about Shaq like we talk about Rudy Gobert. So I just don't know why he gets so much high praise.
Rudy or Shaq?
Rudy.
Here's why I think is because of you're right. He's not going to go to score 30, but he can score 20. And rather than getting the extra 6, so say he averaged 26, he's not going to get those 6 for you. But does he keep the other team from scoring those 6 points that
absolutely.
he doesn't?
Well, yeah, right.
So that's why I think he gets Defensive Player of the Year.
What I'm trying to say,
All-Star.
is if Shaq averaged 15, there's no way
well,
he would get the same love that Gobert did. No way.
what if he was as good defensively as Rudy? Because
I think he is.
was.
Well, I think Shaq's. Ooh, I do. I think Shaq.
I don't think Rudy gets that much attention though. He was an All-Star, which I think he deserves. He's been a Defensive Player of the Year, which is pretty obvious. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's not a flashy award,
Right.
So I understand why he's gotten it, but a lot of people.
It's not the flashiest, but to me, it might be the most important.
I'd say he's probably like the 4th best center. I think you
Yeah.
got Jokic, Embiid, and I'd probably put Towns.
Can we just talk about how Joel Embiid scored his career-high playoff performance at only 36? I'm very disappointed in that.
His career high is only 36.
He just got it, I think, Game 4, and it was like his. I'm like, Oh, come on, Joel.
He'll get a 40 piece this playoffs. I think he will. I think he'll drop 40 against the Bucks.
I can see him dropping 80.
Although Capella's not bad defensively.
No?
But Embiid's bigger. Embiid, I think he'll have a game that he
Here's a great example. I want you to look up just really fast because we're like over an hour. Clint Capella's.
Who cares? We're doing this for fun.
Oh, I'm
You
like,
don't have any time
I
constraints.
thought you were talking about like what I'm talking about. I'm like, fool!
No, what did you say?
Clint Capella's stats. If you guys don't listen to the full hour and 10 minutes, then you guys are missing out on the best show on YouTube. Like his full.
Do you want... Okay.
Yep,
Like this
basketball
year?
reference. Yep.
What do you want? Career, 2021?
Nope, 2021. Go down. He's averaging
10 rebounds. That's
how many
pretty
blocks?
good.
1.6?
12 points.
Or is that script? This year is 2.
2. Yeah, 2 blocks.
My perfect example. He gets no... How many points is he averaging?
He's underrated.
15.2. Probably about as good as Rudy Gobert. How many rebounds is he averaging?
He is averaging 14.
Exactly. Why does he not get the same respect as Rudy Gobert?
He did get some respect in Houston, and I think he's severely underrated. I think
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like that's just what I'm trying to say. It's pretty much the exact same player in Atlanta, and he gets. I don't know. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right. And again, I think it's an eyeball difference. Is on the court and you're right. Like Capella, he's great. I'm not knocking him at all. I think the edge that I give Rudy is the fact that like you see players time and time again, instead of players are more likely to.
Oh, they'll shoot on Clint.
Yeah, they'll try and dunk on Clint. They'll try and go up for a layup against Clint. Most players, unless you're John Morant, aren't trying to go dunk on Rudy.
And I don't think John will try it again.
Most of them are going to shoot a 12-foot floater, which is much more difficult than a 3-foot layup.
Right.
So, I think that's why I kind of want to look up like their advanced stats, maybe like the per 100.
Right.
Because I think that's where Rudy Gobert is really special. And I don't even know how to find those stats. I don't know
There's per 30. There's the per 30 or.
So here's the advanced.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to find player efficiency rating. Let's look up their player efficiency rating. So he's at 24.3 this year. And
This is just fun. This is stuff I just absolutely love.
Yeah.
I love statistics.
This is advanced.
23.5. Clint Capella. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't see what the hype about Gobert is.
Okay, let's look at the block percentage. An estimate of the percentage of opponent 2-point field goal attempts blocked by the player while they were on the floor. So Rudy Gobert's block percentage is 7.
Which is pretty. Like if you think about it, 7%. Like that sounds like a very, very low number. But out of all the shot attempts that actually happen in a game,
Clint Capella is a 6.
So 1 point higher for Gobert.
Which is a decent margin
Right.
when you're looking at these
Right,
numbers. So let's look at his defensive rating is a 106. Oh, this is what I want to look at. So per 100, Clint Capella's defensive rating is 106. Let's see what Rudy Gobert says. Per 100.
131.
101.
Oh, what?
That's a 5-point difference. That's fairly. Again, 106 a defensive rating for 100%.
Wait, who had the 106?
Capella. You want this to be lower.
Oh.
The lower, the better.
Oh, yeah, I see what it is.
This is
I
per
see what
100
it is. I see what it
possessions.
is.
While you're on the court, how many points is the other team averaging?
I see what you're saying. Yep.
So this is one of those things you want to be lower.
Right.
So again, 106 is really good.
Right.
Especially in today's NBA where points are flowing like nobody's business.
Right.
So Rudy Gobert, he's a little bit better defensively. But Capella's great. Capella's a great defender.
I'm talking about like player overall. Like because
for sure.
Gobert gets talked about. But I'm just like, why?
Because he's great. Hey, I mean, best record in the league. Donovan's great.
Donovan's great. And that's the thing.
Support.
Why is
But Gobert
was in the top
player.
10 for MVP? Where's Clint Capella fall? I'm saying that Clint Capella is the exact same player as Rudy Gobert. Where does he fall in the MVP in the race? That's what I don't get. Is when they say Rudy Gobert is better than Donovan. Like, Rudy Gobert was in the top 10 for MVP. Donovan was like top 15. I'm like, why?
I mean, David Locke. So David Locke's the
Right.
radio voice for the Utah Jazz, and he's the biggest Rudy Gobert fan in the world. And he's a huge numbers guy,
Right.
and he watches every game. But he does love Gobert, so I think he's a little bit biased.
Right.
But he says he's personally, that's his opinion, is that Gobert is more important for the Jazz. I almost wonder what the Jazz's record is without Donovan compared to without Rudy. Everything else, and the lineup being the same.
Because just a few years ago, we've talked about it. The one thing Jazz lacked was offense.
Right.
And now they finally got it with Donovan. Not just Donovan, but Conley, Jordan Clarkson off the bench.
Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich has been tremendous. So if you do take Donovan away, there's your playmaker
Right.
and your leading scorer. I'm like, so, I don't know. To me, it was kind of an insult when I saw that Rudy Gobert was ranked higher than Donovan. I'm like, whoa. I don't want to say do people really think he's that important to the team, because yes, Gobert is that important to the Jazz team, absolutely.
But so is Donovan.
Right.
So I
It's
see
just
what you're saying.
hype for me. I'm like, what?
I think you just need offense, and I think Donovan is one of the best offensive players in the league. I'd say top 10 offensively in the league. So I'd probably go Donovan. And we talked about this last year with Dayton. I remember when Dayton was on the show, we're like, that was at the time when people were saying, Rudy and Donovan, they hate each other. One of them's got to go.
Right.
Which turned out to be a bunch of baloney.
Right.
Baloney.
Right.
As Skip Bayless would
Ridiculous.
say. Which can turn out to be a completely false report, because, they play great together.
Right.
But anyways, I'd still probably, if I had to pick one, I'd probably take Donovan over Rudy. Also because I think players will want to come play with Donovan. I think he's more likely to attract free agents.
Well, and Donovan is just like Wade.
I
And
want-
that's
I
one of the
like
reasons
both.
to me why they brought in Wade. People want to play with Wade. Why don't they want to? They're going to
Yeah,
want
for
to play with
sure.
Donovan.
I thought you meant like for Donovan Wade, and I'm like, I don't know if
Oh.
they give someone ownership of the
No.
franchise because of that. But I agree. Like I think it helps to have a great name. They were willing to sell off a portion of what they own to get one of the most respected players in the NBA as part of this franchise.
Of all time.
Of all time for sure. And
Top 3 shooting guard.
He's a recent player too. Like
Right.
all these players in the league now grew up watching Dwayne
Right.
Wade, if not playing with them.
They didn't just hire like John Stockton or something like that. No, it's Wade.
It's
Let's go.
Dwayne freaking Wade.
Who knows how to do business?
Okay, guys.
So
That's did you hear what the Jazz did for John Morant's family? So John Morant's family, the reason those 3 fans, we talked about it about an hour ago, the reason they
about
got
4
fans
hours ago.
is because some fans were getting into it with John Morant's, I think his parents, and that's about as far as I know. So Ryan Smith, the new owner of the Jazz, he offered. I don't know if they actually accepted it, and I would understand if they wouldn't want to.
Right.
But he said, if you guys like, we'll bring you out, all expenses paid. We'll pay for lodging, food.
They did not accept it.
Right. Yeah. But
They did not.
the thing is, the offer was there.
Right.
And for an owner to be like, I apologize for my fans. I'm a diehard Jazz fan. I own the Jazz, but to try and make up for it a little bit, here's a peace offering.
Right.
Take it or not. If you don't, whatever. If you do, great. I think that was super awesome for him to do that. I think the Jazz have tremendous ownership with Ryan Smith and Dwayne Wade going forward.
Right.
Like, I think that's about as cool of an ownership group as we
Right.
got.
Well, and it's funny because everyone talks about the team like it's the coach or like the GM. Like, guys, the owner. It's like
Owner's
it's
big.
like it's like
Culture is big for real.
It's like when you have a car, and you're the owner of that car. You want to make that car as perfect as you possibly can.
Right. You got to change the oil.
Right.
You got to rotate the tires.
Right.
You got to take it for a car wash now and then. You got to just keep it clean. Keep an air freshener in there.
I mean,
you know?
and that's exactly what they're doing with the basketball team. I mean, if you just basically treat your basketball team as the backseat and you go throw all your fast food wrappers in there,
Right.
it's the Minnesota Timberwolves, guys. Like it's not a good franchise.
Right.
So the Jazz have always, even with their new ownership, their last owners have always been a great franchise and an ownership and a team. So I mean,
Real quick, I think this last thing and then we wrap it up.
yeah,
So, Alex Rodriguez, former baseball player, now part owner. I think it's official. I believe he's a part owner of the Timberwolves. And Kevin Garnett, is he also a part owner?
I think so. He loves that.
So I guess Alex Rodriguez wants to, I don't know how true this is or how badly he wants to, but just a report that he's interested in moving it to Seattle. I think he played for the Seattle Mariners for 7 years during his career. So he's a Seattle guy. I believe he was there when the Supersonics were there. So he knows what that team means to the community and what it meant. I guess doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't exist. So I think he wants to move it to Seattle. And I don't know the whole process. I'm sure it's pretty dang big process to relocate a franchise. But we said this before.
Yes.
I
Yes.
hope it happens. I would not be upset to bring back the old Supersonics. I think that'd be awesome. So I'm sure we'll follow up on that. Who knows? Maybe he'll go somewhere. Maybe it doesn't. And then we just have to deal with the crappy Timberwolves of Minnesota. Who knows?
That team has never had any success.
No.
Guys, we've talked about how Chris Paul, it's either once or twice. I'm pretty sure it's twice. He's ever made a conference finals. Guys, Minnesota Timberwolves have ever made, as a whole team, have made the conference finals once. And that was because of only one individual, and that's Kevin Garnett.
Mm-hmm.
So the greatest thing to ever happen, not to the Timberwolves, but the state of Minnesota, was one Western Conference Finals and one guy named Kevin Garnett. You guys need to relocate. I mean,
That's bad.
it's so bad.
Well, I think that just about
Yep.
does it for us. We're in the heat of the playoffs, so these are going to be longer episodes. And you know what? I don't care. I'm
Nope.
having fun. So
Next week, you know what? 3 hours. Okay? Buckle up. 3 hours.
I don't know
folks.
how those sports shows do it.
Oh, I can do it.
So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Comment what
If
you
you
guys
stuck
like.
around this long, congratulations.
If you stuck around, I'll give you a thumbs up. Congratulations from Jake and I, because we really do appreciate it. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to be doing this, and again, we're not a very big channel by any means, but we know some people watch, some people listen. You guys like it, so we're gonna keep going. So thank you guys.